off the pad and it should be everybody in the world. Morning crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now, we've done all the lighting, we've done all the steel work, we've done a trolley for the tire machine, lots of other little jobs that I've not done to camera. And I've got to the point now where I need to make a start on the power supply coming into the workshop, or more to the point, the actual distribution box that's going to be here in the workshop. Now, first of all, a covenant. I am by no means experienced in doing anything mains power orientated. Here in New Zealand, we've got a 240 volt AC supply. Pretty evil stuff. You can get very badly injured or killed, should you make a mistake, touch the wrong wire, work on things whilst they're still alive, that kind of thing. I do my very best to turn everything off. In fact, it's always turned off before I come to do any work on any kind of wiring. In the UK, I grew up in an environment, in fact, one of the first things I was taught by my grandfather was how to wire up an English plug. And he used to have a box of these old plugs that he'd snipped off various bits and pieces, and I'd take them apart. He'd give me some wire and I'd just set about to and wire them up. And I used to really enjoy doing that kind of stuff. And I was probably about 8 or 9 years old at the time. And the culture in the UK was, nobody thought anything was wrong by wiring up a socket on the wall. If you do renovations, you just do it yourself. I've done a heap of wiring here in New Zealand. And then I found out that that was sort of frowned upon. Anything that's hardwired, permanent wiring in a building or a property, you shouldn't be touching it. You need a qualified electrician. And at the age of 13, I wired up my own shed in England without any problems at all. It worked just fine. Obviously, we got an electrician to check it. When they came down to provide the power to the fuse box, we used to call them. And we had an RCD, was it? One of those circuit breaker things on there as well, just in case I decided to cut through a wire in my shed as a kid. And hopefully, it would have saved me. Which actually I did a few times. I actually dropped a trailer chassis on an extension lead and it cut straight through the extension lead. Lots of sparks and quite a good bang, but it did trip the thingy. And of course, everybody was safe. So they're a really good idea, and I'll be using some of those here in the workshop as well. Oh, hang on. It's time for a coffee. Amazingly enough, it's still warm. So, get to the point, Andy, you talk way too much. Well, I went out quite some time ago, before lockdown, and bought a distribution box. Now, the actual main body of the box is already up on the wall, and I'll take you across in a second and show you that. But this is the cover. And I went for the steel type because this is a workshop. You don't really want a plastic distribution box in a workshop because there's things like fire and sparks and stuff goes on in here. And it had a fixed door on hinges. Now I've taken the door off for now because I'm going to have to modify that. Look at the flicker on that, it's terrible, isn't it? New lighting coming shortly. So this is I've got to modify this and you'll see why a bit later on. Now, what else did we get? Yes, going by that rule of New Zealand, that you can't, as an individual, a non-qualified electrician, you can't work on any fixed wiring that's fixed back to the supply to the house. You have to have some kind of, ability to break the circuit completely. So what I decided to do, and bear in mind, this distribution box isn't the main one for the property. This has been fed from the distribution box in the house at this point in time by a cable that's probably about the same thickness as that. And it says on it, again, I'm not an electrician, so I couldn't tell you. It says here E25, maybe you should have a read of it because you might understand better what it all means. Here you go. Mind the coffee. There you go, look. So whatever that says on there is what it is. It is what we call a twin and earth. It's got a positive, a negative, a live, a negative, and an earth wire in there, which is very important. You've got to have things earth these days, especially in a workshop, because things do go wrong. You're regularly cutting through wires and doing bits and pieces. So at the moment, it's fed by the distribution box in the house, which I can disconnect. I can turn that off on the circuit breaker, and I can do the work I need to do. Obviously, I won't be connecting that supply to the distribution box until I've got all the other wiring, the outputs all done. In the future, and we're not far away now, we're still on lockdown here in New Zealand, so I can't go out and buy anything, and we can't get an electrician to come here. They're not allowed to come on the premises. It's just the way it is. Once we get to level 2, then I think they can. We're still in full lockdown level 4 at the moment. We've got a really heavy duty cable that's going to come straight from the supply box. That's the big box with the meter in it, straight to the workshop, and then this will become directly supplied from the supply to the house. So of course the electrician will have to wire it up, but in the meantime, you know, I want to tidy up the wiring here and just get things sorted out. So the outputs from this distribution box, each output, each circuit is going to basically only be a very short bit of wire, and it's going to feed into one of these 16 amp sockets. And I've got 4 of these. I may not need all 4, I don't know yet. And then it's going to connect to this, the plug, 16 amp plug. I think it is a 16 amp, it might be 15. I know in England they're a 16 amp. Yes, 16 amp, there you go, look. So you've got that on there. And that means that officially the circuit can be disconnected. And everything downstream of this plug on each of the circuits is classed as a temporary fixture, temporary circuit, and therefore I can wire it up, and the electrician is quite happy with that. I've gone through this with him and he said, yep, no problem at all, that's fine. So inside the distribution box we're going to have 4 circuits, which means we have to have 5 circuit breakers, and the main circuit breaker currently is one that's rated at 100 amps. There you go, look. And then we've got the 4 different circuits. Now I did write these down somewhere. Yes, I've got them written down here. We've got a 40 amp, which is that one there. It's a pretty hefty circuit, and that's going to be to supply the MIG welder. Now the MIG doesn't use 40 amps, obviously. It's a 285 amp rated MIG welder, but that's not, you know, 240 volt worth of amps, if you know what I mean. It's different kind of rating. But it will melt. Here we are, look. It will very happily melt one of these New Zealand plugs within about 15 minutes of welding at full power. I've seen it done a few times, and it's quite a scary occurrence because there's lots of sparks and usually some flame as well. So we try and stay away from those. In the UK, where's that plug gone? In the UK, we used to have one of these plugs on it for a short time, and then that melted. So this was not really much better. These can cope with 13 amps. The New Zealand ones officially are rated at 10 amps. So then we went straight to a 16 amp plug and had no further problems. So that's going to be the 40 amp circuit. We've also got somewhere around here a 32. Yes, that one there, look. That's going to be the ring main for in the workshops. And between you and me, don't tell anybody, when I do the ring main, it's not going to be New Zealand plugs. It isn't. I absolutely hate these things. I spend my entire life bending the little terminals back into position. Now, there is a video, or a couple of videos on the channel I did ages ago on how to wire up a UK plug and how to wire up a New Zealand plug. And in those videos, I said, and I'll stand by it, that the UK plug, I think, is safer. It's certainly a lot more substantial. It's stronger. It's easier to wire up because there's a bit more room in it, and it's much easier to plug in and unplug. And the sockets that go on the wall are more durable. They're beefier. They're more heavy duty. And the New Zealand ones, man, there's so many times these plugs just don't seem to sit in the socket properly. They seem to be loose, and we do get problems of arcing between the plug and the socket here. So in my workshop, I'm going to have English sockets all the way around as a ring main, and I'll just convert all my New Zealand tools to English plugs because these are, to me, far superior. I know some people say in the comments, and rightly so, because they are qualified electricians, so I understand where they're coming from. They say that, hey, you don't need fuses in every single plug anymore, Andy. You know, these circuit breakers make it quite safe to have a plug like a New Zealand plug without a fuse in it. I say, from a consumer perspective, I feel a lot happier having each plug separately fused. Thank you very much. But I do appreciate the comments, so if you're going to add to that, feel free to chip in and put something in the comments, and I'll do my best to reply. But I will warn you now, I don't think you're going to be able to deter me from using these plugs. Now, I do appreciate that these ones don't have fuses in them. Yeah, such is life. But they are extremely durable and very strong and long-lasting. I never have any problems at all with this style of plug. But sure, it's a bit bulky and a bit numb, so you won't want it on all your equipment. Okay, lots of talking. Oh my word, 11 minutes. I wanted to explain to you all. Let's head over to the consumer box now, the one that I've put on the wall. You can see the layout. We'll come back and then we'll talk a little bit about how I'm going to wire it up, because I think it's going to be slightly different to how an electrician will wire it up. Here we go. Right. So those that know the workshop, I have already panelled up the bit between the two doors. Now there's a reason why I've put the consumer box here, is to minimise the distance between the consumer box and the supply, the final supply on the side of the house where the power comes into the property. I've also tidied up the current power supply to the workshop into some conduit, because it was just basically poking at the concrete as just a raw wire, which is not good for anybody. And that is currently the wire that sticks out the concrete, which is at the moment all taped up safely and de-energized. It's turned off at the consumer box, distribution box inside the house. Now, try and get you a good picture here, because it's already on the wall. This is the layout, okay? We've got this one here, this buzz bar, which is mounted to the casing and not insulated. So that has to be ground, or earth, should we say. All right, that's obviously an earth strip for shared earths. But what's a little bit confusing up here is we've got two more, multi rails, which are linked here by a buzz bar. And there's another link here from this one down to ground, but this is insulated, whereas this one is straight to the box. So at the moment, anything that's connected to any of these contacts will be grounded to the box, which I want to use one of these to connect all my negatives. And at the moment, if I did that, it would also, the negative would be grounded, which doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove that. So that all my earths go to here, all my negatives can go to here and or here, because it's got a nice little, stud mount there. Look, so the main negative that comes in can go onto that if need be. And all the positives will come in through the wire and then go straight to the main circuit breaker, the 100 amp, and then there's a buzz bar that links all the different circuit breakers together. And that makes sense to me. And bear in mind, this is not the main distribution box that comes into the property. This is a sub distribution box. So that's how I'm going to wire it up. Begin your comments now. Here we go. Right, where are we? Okay, so I've told you about the dastardly plan that I've got for that distribution box here in the workshop. Let's take a quick look at a wiring diagram just so you can visualize exactly how that's wired up at the moment, or how it's intended to be wired up. For some strange reason, can't comprehend that. It doesn't make any sense to me, being an auto electrician or mechanic or motor vehicle engineer, call it what you like. And I'll show you how I'm going to wire it up on paper, And then, well, we better crack on, haven't we? Because this is going to be a very long video otherwise. Right, working around the camera then. So we've got our distribution box here. And just very quick summary. Oh, there goes another dead fly. We've got the current input. That's the old wire that comes up to the concrete floor. And then we're going to have 4 outputs. So we've got a 40 amp for the MIG. And then we're also going to have 3 more. And I'm going to bring all those out the top. And we've got a 32 amp, which is the main ring main. We've also got a 16 amp, which is going to be the lighting circuit. And then finally there'll be a 10 amp circuit, which is the one that I leave on overnight. So we'll call that the overnight. And that's things like battery chargers and the fly zapper. Oh, and the Wi-Fi as well, so I can use that from in the house. Perfect. The internals we'll cover next. And I've already made a diagram for that, just to save us a little bit of time, because like I said before, this video is going to be quite long by my luck. Okay, so coming into the fuse box, we've got the input coming in here. We've got a positive, and the positive wire will come up and it'll go into the bottom of that. There you go, look, of the main switch. And then it's going to come out of there, and there's going to be a rail, a buzz bar we call that, certainly in the automotive industry anyway, and that's going to feed all of those 4 other circuit breakers. And then the outputs, quite simply, are going to go off. That's the 40 amps, that's going to be the MIG, that's going to go off and head off down there. And then these ones are all going to go north, they're all going to go up to the 3 other 16 amp sockets. Okay, now I know this is a 32 amp circuit breaker and I'm using a 16 amp socket stroke plug combination, but at the moment there's no way I'm going to get it anywhere near 32 amps on what I use, so I'm quite happy with the way things are at the moment. Once we do the ring main proper and it's hardwired and those plugs are removed, once the electrician's checked the circuits, then I'll be able to have the full 32 amp capability on that ring main. Fantastic. Okay, now just looking up the top here, the moment we've got these 2 link bars here. Look, this box or this group of connectors is earthed to the casing of the distribution box, and then that's linked to this row, which is insulated from the box, and then there's a little buzz bar that links that one to these. So we're going to delete that link, and we're going to delete that link, which then means that these 2 are fully insulated and are not grounded to the box, because you don't want your negative circuit grounded to your earth. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, that, you know. So we're going to get rid of that, and I'm going to use one of these, or both of these, probably just one of them, buzz bars for the negative. And of course this one is going to be for the ground or earth. And we've already seen where the positives go, so it actually shouldn't be too difficult a job to make a nice tidy job of wiring this up. Right, first job is to remove this link bar and that one there. So we'll do the little one first. It's a bit awkward working around this beam support for the roof, but it really had to go here. There was no other place in the workshop which was going to be suitable, unfortunately. And this roof support is only temporary. It will eventually disappear when the 4th beam goes in, whenever that's going to be. Nearly there. Oh, there we go, look, that's that one. Put that to one side, we'll save that because the electrician might need that. And we'll get rid of this one as well. One. Look at that about flat-headed screws in this day and age. It's fantastic, isn't it? Right, we'll save all of those because we're definitely going to need those at some point in the future once the electrician comes in and laughs at what I've done. Okay, now remember we've already got the input coming into the distribution box. I'm not going to wire that up until the end. So the next thing I suppose to do is to start mounting some bits and pieces on the wall. Right, so I reckon we'll start with the easiest one. We're going to go for a bit of conduit. I think we'll come out of that hole there, and we're going to mount that one on there. Remember, this one is the 40 amp supply just for the MIG welder. Or I suppose anything else really big that I want to run off it. Well, I reckon that's where it should be. It looks pretty good. Now, unfortunately, these sides are tapered, so I can't use a spirit level on there. So I'm just going to mount that off so that when I come to screw it on, it's in the right place. That one by hand, I think. Working around everything here. That's pretty good. Good workout for the fingers, this. Excellent. Right, now we need some wire. Okay, well we can click a few of these in to start off with. So I'll pop that one in. Now these just slide up and down the rails, so they don't have to be in a particular position at the moment. So just somewhere near, basically. And on the back, you just lift up this little tab. There we go, look. Put it on the rail. And then, just push the little tab back up. Easy as that, basically. And slide it to where you want it, which will be just there. Near enough. Cool. Right, we'll just push that back out of the way for now. There we go. Now I'm reusing some wire that's become redundant because again we can't buy anything here in New Zealand, and this is pretty new wire anyway, so it'd be a shame to waste it. Okay, so that's our positive, and that's going to go under here and into that connector there. Look, so we can probably trim that down at this point in time to about that. Now, for these particular connectors that go into the circuit breakers, you've got to bear them back 14 millimeters, and that gives you the ideal length. So we'll use our Erico special snap-on wire strippers, and that to me is about 14 millimeters. Oh, look at that, perfect. Good job. Cheers, Eric. Right, now we need a posi screwdriver. Things are getting pretty tight in here with this beam in the way. I suppose what we could do, just to make our lives a little bit easier, is just unclip it off the rail while we put the wire in. Just pull the tab back down, out it comes. Easy. Oh man, I've got loads to go on that. So the output's at the bottom. Yeah, I'll let you see. You can see it closing up in there. That should Should be about right. We'll stick that in there. And then, holding it in, I'm trying to get it on camera for you. Give that a bit of a tweak. There we go. Wonderful. There we are. Right, that's that one. Essentially done. It's always good to leave a bit of spare in there, but you don't want it touching the case if you can help it, for obvious reasons. Okay, now we need to run these other two cables behind this support rail. There we go. Hopefully you can see everything from there. Let's just give you a bit of an adjustment. There you go, look, how's that? That works, doesn't it? Much better. Okay, so this is going to be our earth. So again, we don't want to cut them dead too short, so we'll just stick that down maybe to about there. And again, we'll just cut that down. Now this one wants to be long enough to go pretty much all the way through, so maybe not quite as long as the previous cut. There we go, look. Now then, little star screwdriver. And we'll stick him on the end here, look, out of the way. Yeah, it was stuck on something. Fantastic. Right, so that's that one done. And now we're going to be using this one, I think, for our negatives. So again, we'll stick him on the end, keep it all consistent, so we know if we come back in here, we know that all the M1s are all the same circuit. Now, as regards length, we'll cut that down a little bit, because that wire is going to come up slightly. So probably about there. Bloody good wire strippers, Eric. Thank you for that. Tool girl Hannah was very impressed when she got those. She was kind enough to leave them with me as well when she left for Australia. Top lass. Yeah, just trying to get a better angle for you. And I pulled it back out. What a numpty. There we go. Fantastic. Right, let's get the old socket wired up now. Now this doesn't need to be over long because you know, with the fitting, once it's in place, you'll find that the actual wires are up here. So we're going to cut back the insulation till about here inside the box, and we need to be able to wire it up about this distance here. So shouldn't be too bad. There we go. Obviously the wires are a lot easier to compact inside the box if they haven't got the white insulation, the outer, in place. Coolio. Right, let's get all these trimmed to the same length to start off with. What's going on there? Right. One. Two. Three. Excellent. And being an automotive chap, we like to twist our wires, don't we? Just to keep them neat and tidy. Now, let's not forget, we've got a little grommet thing to go on. Probably easier to put it on now than it is later on. Right, let's get these opened up. It's pretty dark around here. I might have to sort some lights out, I think. Okay, so we've got live, earth and neutral. Let's pop the live in first, get that one out of the way. There we go. I actually really like doing wiring, it's good fun. Okay, that's our live. Let's just do our earth next, because that's wanting to go in. There we go. And lastly, our neutral. In you go, matey. If you will. Let's give you a bit more. Don't that screw falling out. Oh, wrong hole. Problem of my life. There we go. Definitely need more lights around here. Super job. Right, well that's the first one pretty much wired up. Get Mr. Grommet in place. Find the original screws. There we go, look. And that's one. Excellent. Bloody good. Can't wait to get all this done. It's been waiting to be done for a long, long time. Done. Well, crew, in the interest of not making this video ridiculously long, I'm going to wire up the other three and then we'll do a little overview. But until then, cheers. And of course, I'm going to involve you when it comes to the big switch on, just in case there's a huge explosion, which there might well be since I've wired it up. Right, the other three of those 16 amp outlets are now all wired up and good to go. Let's take a quick look. Right, I've rigged up some lights for you. Hopefully it's not going to be too bright. Just to give you a pan through, because I'm sure there'll be quite a few of you out there wanting to do this something like this yourselves for your own man cave or garage. And as long as you follow the simple rules, it's not too difficult. But saying that, I've wired this up the way I want it to be wired up, and that may well not be the correct way. I'm sure the electricians out there will be quite happy to tell us what we've done wrong, what I've done wrong. There you go, look, just so you can see all the grounds at the back, down here on the ground bar, basically. All the negatives are on this insulated bar here, and all the positives essentially, just bring you around here, look, Geez, it's going to be a pretty good camera shot. You can see them all wired up under each of the four. Now, the four, circuit breakers. Right, so what I haven't done yet is wire in, there you go, look, the original supply to the workshop into this consumer box, or this distribution box, should I say. Just to give you an overview, those are the two outlets at the top, and there's plenty of clearance to get those plugs in. It's very tight with this beam here, but it is only a temporary beam. And then I've put the overnight one down here because of space, and of course we have the original 40 amp one that I did with you guys at the start. So all in all, I think it's turned out to be quite a tidy little job, really. That's the cable coming out of the ground, which has now got the conduit, and well, there you go. And this is what I had to deal with beforehand. Pretty horrific. And if you follow this, I shouldn't show you this. If you follow these cables along the roof, and this isn't all of the cables, by the way, bring that down there. We've got a nice drop down one for working on the, centrally powered equipment. And then if you go up there, look, we've got some more outlets. And there, I think there's some more, there's some more outlets under there. And then there's some more outlets. Geez, sorry about the lighting. That's one of my things on the list. We've got, oh, look at that. We've got some more up there. And then there's those there. And there's those there. Go on, I hope you're counting how many things are plugged in. Oh, hang on, there's some more down here that I missed. Holy moly, look at that, there's some more there. I think that's all of them on this side. And then we come over here, keep counting. There's all those. Oh God, all those. It's terrible, isn't it? And then if you come down here, there's even more. Look, there's another 4 down here. Okay, they're not all in use. And then there's those up there. And then, just sneaking behind there, look, some more. I think that's all of them. I think it is. But yeah, there's a lot. Right, okay. Well, you've had a quick tour of the workshop now. Back to the bench. Right, now comes the potentially dangerous aspect of connecting up that main feed here to the workshop into that distribution box. This is the bit I really do not look forward to. The circuit breaker is in the off position inside the house, but as far as I'm aware, that only breaks the live. Potentially, because it's an alternating current, I understand it that you should still be able to get a shock from the negative side. So I need to be very careful how I handle those wires. Geez, here we go. Just to be on the safe side, I've turned off the main power to the house. Now I know that that breaks the negative and the live, so we should be okay, because I hate this kind of stuff. I don't mind doing the wiring when I know it's not connected, but as soon as it's connected to anything, I get really worried. That's why we employ Sparkies, to be fair, to do the job. But we're on lockdown and Sparkies can't come to the house, so I have to do this myself. Okay, wish me luck. Oakley dokley. Okay, so we're working by the light of 2 rechargeable LED lamps that I got given by ISL Industrial, actually. And well, hopefully they're reasonably well charged up. Probably won't even use this bit of footage. Right, let's get that sheathing taken off. There we go. So you see, look, we've got twin and earth. So I need to now get rid of the rest of this tape and then strip that wire right back. Ooh, well, we caught something, didn't we? Look at that. The red. Terrible way of doing it. Don't do this, people. Almost there. And to be fair, it's a lot harder when you try to do it on camera as well. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just going to fold that over for now. I'm going to stick a bit of tape around that. Hang on a second. Don't like to take any chances. And the problem is, you see, a little knowledge, and I only have a very small amount of knowledge on this stuff, and some of you will even laugh at that, can be very dangerous. And that's why we use electricians for most of the stuff. So that's all taped up now, and I can't get a shock from that. I'm not going to get a shock from that or from that. So I'm just going to pull this apart now. And run that all the way down. Until it's the right length. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't want to risk cutting into the wire further back. It's very old wire, is this? There we go. I couldn't tell you when this garage was actually wired up, so there we go. That's probably the hardest bit done now. So I'm just going to pull out those. There we go. This wire carries a fair bit of current. I mean, it's been quite capable of. Just got a little bit more. Quite capable of running the MIG, not on its full power, by the way. But let's get you a little bit closer. There you go. Can you still see? You see better now? Okay. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay, let's do the earth first then. And it's only quite a thin earth, so I'm just going to run this up and straight onto the earth bar once we put it to length. Right, I'm just going to move the camera so you can see better what's going on. I need to also put a strip over this to insulate it from the casing, just so it doesn't, you know, that's what you do. So if we cut that around about there, and I've got this sheathing. It's actually durite stuff for cars. It's all I've got. I can't go and buy anything because it's locked down at the moment. And we'll just thread that over the top. In fact, we'll pull it out first. Now that we've got the length, make it easier. Thread that through there, and I'm off camera a little bit. Apologies. Right, that's all the way down to there. Feel where the end is. It's just there, look, pull that back off again. And we'll cut it back about 15 mil. There we go. And then we can stick it back on again. Hopefully this time in shot. There we go. So it is actually sort of at least covered with something. I know it's black, I know it should be green. I haven't got any green, I've only got black. And it's locked down, I can't buy anything. Can't even go anywhere. Been here for 5 weeks. So we've got the earth here, and rather than put it onto the bolt, I think we'll just stick it in one of these. It's quite a small section cable. It won't make any difference, I don't think. And like I say, again, the electrician's going to come in here and sort all of this out. Stop laughing once he's finished laughing, obviously. Hang on, we'll just cut that down a fraction. There we go. So like I say, once he's finished laughing, then hopefully he'll make it right for us. Assuming, of course, it actually works, but I think it will. I can't see why it won't. There we go. Like I say, this current supply into this consumer box is only temporary. We've got some big 200 amp cable going to be coming in and supplying. Right, so we've now still got the positive, which is very simple. Let's get that one out of the way. So the positive, I'm just going to sort this cable out a bit. There we go. Right. Positive, let's just move the old camera around a little bit for you. There we go. So positive is going to come in and it's going to feed the main 100 amp circuit breaker, which is this end one here. So we can cut that one. Insulated snippers. There we go. Just to be on the safe side. Wire cutters, strippers, sorry. 14 millimeters. Oh, we're a bit off camera there, aren't we? Jeez. How's that? Terrible lighting, I know, but I don't have any lights at the moment. Right, there we go. Okay, so that's all stripped, ready to go in. Now, the easiest way of doing these is to remove the actual circuit breaker from the bar. Just pull the yellow tab down. There we go. We can take it off and then we can wire it straight in. So let's just try and sort this camera out a bit more for you. There we go. Hopefully you'll be able to see something now. Right, so down, tab. Okay, so I'm just going to wind this in so it's almost all the way. I'm ready to accept the wire, just makes it a bit easier. There we go. Right, so where is that positive? There it is, look, on camera, that's great. And then we can stick that in there. Should go in further than that. What's going on? Let's try that. Yes, there we go, look. Make sure the insulation's not being gripped. There we go. And I'll use my long screwdriver for this, and hopefully I can do a bit more on camera for you. There we go. Fantastic. Right, that can now go back on the rail. And we can click up the little yellow tab again now. There we go. Shuffle it down, and that one is done. Just going to tidy up that wire in a bit. There we go, tidy it up, sort of. It did look pretty good until now. Okay, now all we've got left to do now is the negative. Right, I need to run that negative round the back of that steel bar that holds the supports the circuit breakers, just so that keeps all the wiring nice and held back and out of the way. Right, let's pull that across that side a bit. There we go. Better. Like I say, I was trying to keep a bit more of that supply cable inside the box, just in case I have to redo something. I've got a bit of spare to go at. Okay, so this one is going to go up and into there, so we can snippy off that one now. This is the one that I want to be careful of, because I'm still not sure whether it's potentially going to give me a shock. I don't think it will, but we'll just be super careful. we go. Did my thumb just touch it? Probably did. Obviously I can't twizzle this one, so it's going to go in as is. Hopefully we're on camera. I think we are. Coolio. Right, let's just tidy that up. Not bad. Not bad, I think. Done a good job there. So the next thing to do is to fit the buzz bar that joins the output of the 100 amp circuit breaker to the inputs of the 4 sort of circuit breakers. So this is where it splits into 4 different circuits. That shouldn't be too hard. Right, let's go and find that. It's very dark in this workshop. It's not normal. Now this is the bar that they supply. That box can do up to 12. I think it's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one's your input, and you could have it up to 11 circuits going out. I don't need that many in a workshop. So I need to cut this down so it just retains 5. 1 for the input and 4 for the output circuit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that should just slide off. Cut that down there, look. Come back. And of course we need some of the insulation as well. So, oh, I recognise that stuff. Right, so that goes in there like that. There we go, and we can just cut that down. Hopefully it won't shatter. I've never cut this stuff before, so we'll cut it off about there. Attempt to anyway. There we go. Wonderful. Right, so we've got the five bars. We can go and install that. I've left a bit of insulation overhanging at each end as well, because don't forget, you know, this is live when that 100 amp circuit breaker is on. And then we can test it, can't we? We're almost there. Right, you can actually see better than I can at the moment. So this goes in. Now, does it go in that way around? Or does it go in that way around? I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't think it makes a lot of difference, so we'll stick it in that way. And we'll connect it up on the output of the 100 amp circuit breaker first. And we'll see it move towards us as that little clamp moves. That's that one. Let's do the end one now to keep it in place. Wow, this is really close to the old screwdriver. I don't think that's even making contact. Let's get that back in place. Right, that one is tight. Now we've just got the 3 middle ones to do, which I can't even get in with this screwdriver on that one. Get this one done there. That's that one. Yep, good. Right, I need to come up with another plan for those two. Jeez, bear with me. Right, so I reckon we can do it finger tight with these. Everything's turned off, so we're all good. You can see better than I can, honestly. Right, that's that one done. It says 3.5 Newton meters is the tightening torque, which is nothing. So obviously you can over tighten these things and damage them. Oh, that's not a very good driver. Doesn't really match the threads on the head of the screw. But I would say but that is definitely tight enough. I'm not putting much force on this because I appreciate it's a ratchet and you wouldn't normally use a ratchet on one of these. There we go. Not too bad. I would have preferred to have had a slightly better job, or a tidier job of the wiring coming in. But like I say, it's only temporary. All the other stuff, that's permanent. Well, unless of course the electrician decides otherwise, which he might do. It's just wires, you can move them around, it's all good. Now what's left for me to do is to fit the 16 amp plugs onto each of the circuits in the workshop. Now I won't bother doing that to camera because I'm pretty sure you can work out how to wire up one of these. Only 3 wires, very similar to a normal domestic household plug, and everything's labelled up, so you can't really go wrong. So let me get those done. We'll get it all plugged in, and then we'll turn on the main switch in the house. And I'll leave the main cover off the box, so if there's going to be an explosion, you'll be able to see it firsthand. And then I can watch the video and find out what went wrong. Damn. Okay, see you shortly. Right, just to test it, I've put the whole circuitry for the entire workshop as it used to be on one single 16 amp plug. And that's currently connected to the 16 amp circuit, which will be the lighting circuit eventually. At the moment, it's doing all the lights and anything else that's running in the workshop, which really isn't very much. Even the air compressor is disconnected, so it pretty much is just running the lights for this test. Okay, I'm going to set the camera up. I've turned all the circuit breakers to the on position, so when I go in the house and turn on the power at the main fuse box and then the circuit breaker for the workshop, either all the lights in the workshop will come on, or there'll be a huge bang, probably some smoke, some sparks, maybe, and then I'll have to really reconsider should I ever touch another household domestic wiring circuit ever again in my entire life. We'll have to find out, won't we? And you'll be the first to know, not me. Okay, here we go. Right, I'm going to turn off all the lights in the workshop bar one little tiny one. So we'll turn that off. I'll shut the door. Back shortly. Success! Fantastic. Just to test it, off. Oh yeah. Back on again. Fantastic. Good job. Well, there you go. Oh, camera. Yeah, camera's not too bad. Push it a bit further back. There you go. Not too bad a job. Obviously, I'm feeling slightly more confident now than I was earlier on this morning. It's nice to have the job done. At least it works, which is important. Now, at the moment, obviously, if I come to use the MIG welder, then I will plug that into the 40 amp outlet. Not that it's going to give me 40 amps at the moment, but I'll plug it into the 40 amp outlet, and then I run all the lights and everything just off an extension lead from a separate ring main in the house. And that seems to work okay, but obviously it's not really ideal, is it? Because, you know, you want to be able to be self-sufficient and not have to keep, you know, running extension leads across to different places around the property. It's not good. One thing, if you are going to do this, just think twice about what you're doing. Plan it, you know. I mean, I bought all the stuff with an idea in my head, didn't know whether I was going to use all of it or not. It's still not quite finished. I've still got some of the circuits to separate out in the workshop, and then I can make use of all 4 of those outlets that I've put on. Still got the 2, if not 3, somewhere. Yeah, there's one on the table over there. of these plugs still to fit. These plugs actually, they all vary a little bit. These ones are really cool. These are made in Spain. There, look, you see, and that's the part number if you're interested. That's very automotive, wasn't it? And to undo them, you take the end cap off here, eventually, and you get a little grippy thing there, look, with the seal in the middle, which is really good actually. It went down to quite a small cable size. But then to open this bit, you've got to push that little noggin in there, and then you can turn it. Have I got a screwdriver? I have, hang on. I'm back. I always operate way too close to the camera, sorry. So there you go, look. So you just push that in with your screwdriver, and at the same time you've got to turn it. So probably that way. Yes, hang on. It's not easy when you're on your own. There you go, look. So you've got to do that, push it in, and then you can turn it, and then it separates out, and you've got the 3 connectors on the inside. Very, very simple. Don't forget to run your wire through that first, and then through that, and that's the outside pointing out, that's the inside, and then through that, and then wire it up onto there, because if you forget any of those bits, you've got to do it all over again. Simple as that. And then when you've finished, basically you just line them up. It's quite a cool design. You just line it up there, look, like that, drops in, give it a twizzle, click, and it's nice and secure again. The ones that I had in England had 2 screws that you had to undo every time. So these are actually pretty neat, nice and quick. I like that design. Well done, Famatel. I endorse you. Great job. Yeah. Montcada, Rizac, Spain. Wherever that is. Don't know. Okay, crew. Yeah, like I say, have a plan. Do draw it out. Work out what you're going to do. Have a talk with an electrician if you know one. And be extremely careful, especially when it comes to wiring in the supply cable to the box. Always do that last. Don't do it first. It just means that the box is completely safe whilst you're doing all the other bits of wiring. Okay, crew. Well, a very, very different kind of video from the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. I get to do all sorts of stuff. This isn't really specifically to do with the channel, but it is to do with the workshop. And without this workshop, there wouldn't be an Andy Mechanic channel. And I thought some of you just may want to come along on this journey, because sometimes it's good to be pushed outside your box. You know, most of the time I spend time fixing motorcycles and cars and doing mechanics. A bit of fabrication work. You saw me make the trolley for the tyre fitting machine the other day. Doing this kind of thing, vehicle electrics, no problem at all, because usually you're going to be alright. But when it comes to domestic wiring with a 240 volt AC supply, things can get a lot more dangerous. So you've got to be extra careful. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, why not click on the subscribe button? You'll see a little gear icon turn up. Click on that, and then you can tick the box and turn on notifications. Now, friends at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, so feel free to communicate through any of those. Although, to be fair, hardly anybody ever communicates to me on Twitter, so I might drop that shortly. You'll find my email address down the bottom. You can send me an email if you like. If you've bought yourself one of the Andy Mechanic official 2020 mugs, which are tea and coffee compatible, and I've tested it, they'll also do alcohol as well, especially cider and whiskey. Very cold coffee. You can get that. I'll put you a link up on the screen, one of those little tags. It's zazzle.co.nz, www.zazzle.co.nz, but the link will take you straight to the Andy Mechanic shop, and you can buy yourself one. And if you do get one of these, thank you for supporting the channel, because I make about $1 for each one that I sell. I'll be very honest about that. And send me a selfie with you and your official mug to me via email, and I'll include it in one of my videos. I do already have a few pictures of various viewers with these, and I'll be including them in the next video. What else? There's a Patreon page, so you can read all about the history of the channel, all the profiles on the various tool girls that come and go through the show, and there's still Lily and Holly around. They're going to be rejoining me once lockdown has ceased here in New Zealand. And there's a sneaky hearing, there's a new tool girl coming as well, and possibly tool girl Sam may come down for a day as well to give me a hand, because I haven't seen Sam for about 18 months now. Be great to have her back and have a bit of a catch up. Lastly, almost lastly, on Patreon, obviously you can become a patron, and we had a new patron the other day, and I'll mention his name in the next mail call. Also, lastly, there's a PayPal option now, which you can use to send any donations through directly, because YouTube do take a fair chunk of any kind of donations you do through YouTube. Okay, crew, well, that brings me to the end of this particular video. I'm very pleased to say that I survived this experience. It's always a worry, isn't it? See you next time. Cheers. Over and out. And we get the flip up again.
Oh!
Really.